Welcome to Bookwood!
Hi, I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me. It is already time to wrap up my September reading month. I will start by updating my journal spreads for Orilium. My life note spread wasn't completely filled up, so I decided to use the leftover space to add in the 2 news articles that were published on the Discord. I cut away the back flap of this little spread here and I made a little pocket to tuck these articles in. On this right side, I will be pasting in the covers of the books that I have been able to log as extra credits. I didn't expect that would happen. I didn't set out to read for extra credits and I didn't pick out my reads in function of the prompts. They just happened to match and that made me very happy. I wonder, did you read for some extra credits this month? I am now updating the spread I made to paste in the pets we rescued. I did have a little clip of the first 5 of them, but I forget to add that in my second vlog. We did rescue a lot of animals. I left this blank page, if you remember, during my journal setup. Since last semester we had this quiz that allowed us to be matched with one of the dragons we saved. G decided that we had a free pick for the pet and I went with this little cute scent shepherd. I have a lot of special magical creatures in my companions list and a dog. That is something I do not have. I still need to decide if this is a girl or a boy and I still need to decide what the name of this lovely companion will be. I give myself some time for that, but here is the spread. I did leave a little bit much space for just such a choosing. But then I have printed out the little page that goes with it and it gives some information about where this creature lives, how it needs to be cared for, the special abilities it has. Which pet did you pick? With the Orilium pages updated, I can start on my stats spread. I, as always, add in some decoration that goes with my monthly theme. During the month of September, I read 16 books. I DNF'd none, which always makes for a successful month, and I found 3 5-star books, which is a lot. Especially compared to the latest months. Of the 16 books I read 8 physical books, 3 ebooks, and those were good for 2,759 pages, and I listened to 5 audiobooks. That was for 48 hours and 18 minutes. The physical books came from the library, for the most of them, 5. 2 I owned and 1 came from a book box. It has already returned, by the way. And the 3 ebooks were all Kindle included books. All the audiobooks came from Audible. I paid for 1 and 4 were included in my subscription. 1 book I read was a graphic novel. 4 were novellas and 11 were novels. I read from 15 different authors and 10 of those were completely new to me. This month my top 3 genres were fantasy with 6 books, contemporary with 2 books and sci-fi with 2 books. Let's talk series. 8 of the books I read were standalones, which means that 8 of them were part of a series somehow. 7 longer series and 1 from a duology. I started 3 series, I continued in 3, so I read 3 sequels, and I finished 2 series. None of those were series that I decided to DNF. I hope that I will manage to keep my amount of active series around 20, because I already can tell you that we will be reading some more series soon. I read majority in French, 12 books. I read 3 in English and 1 in Dutch. The last set of pages that I need to update are those for my year-long challenges that are at the start of my first journal of this year. I add in the Sand Shepherd that we earned, and then I update my Orilium year-long adventure page, for which I read a book with an orange cover. I noticed that I have traveled a whole part of the world already. Let's see where we end up. For the 52 Book Club year-long challenge, I have read 3 books, so I will be adding the covers on the stats page. No books for the ABC challenge, but 2 books for the 25 in 25 bingo from 4 Paws and the book. This gives me at least 2 bingos, 3 if you counted the diagonal. No books for les étapes indiennes. And of course I read my book for the Fitsalong. And I did my reading for my reread project. I was able to add 2 books to my Read Me bingo, and I had to notice that as longer the year goes by, the washi tape becomes more difficult to peel off. So I had to fidget a little bit to see the coordinates for this last book. So I hope that for the last 4 we will be able to peel them off in a good way. We can add some sequels read, and we can add the titles of the series that I started. I finished more series than I indicated in here because the trilogy for the Fitsalong is one of the series I finished, and this is a series that I did not put on my series tracker since I already track it on its own separate page. Next month I will need to add an extra page, and I'm very happy that I left a page open for that. I did read the book for the Mooney Book Club. That's what I am pasting in here. I will add, as always, the dates and my compile rating. If you want to know what I thought about it, please stick around for the second part of this video, in which I will be talking about the books that I didn't mention in my vlog videos. And here we are for the book review part of this wrap-up. I've installed myself on a bench that's alongside what they call a didactic path, and it's like a part of the village, an old path that has been especially set up to support our local animals and plants. We should be quite peaceful here. I would like to talk to you about the books that I logged as extra credits for Orilium. All the books that I logged for my callings are discussed in my 2 vlogs. And this leaves us with, I think, like 3 books, two novellas. The first one that I want to talk to you about is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. So this is, to me, a new adult. The main character, and we go again. The name is gone. Is 27. That I do remember. And she lives with her parents, and she's in a state of mind that is like, I've got whole life in front of me. I have got all the time in the world to find my my path. Except that this year on Halloween, in her house, she will be attacked. And she will be left for dead. A young man that used to be her best friend when they were like elementary school kids, stumbles on her body and calls in the ambulance. When our main character comes back to herself, she finds herself in the hospital, and they explain to her that her skull had been really badly broken by this attack, that they managed to make sure that she's alive, and that she has a little piece of skull bone that is deep inside her brain next to an artery. And that wouldn't be that much of a problem if she wouldn't have this kidney disease that weakens her arteries. And this has as a consequence that the artery that is near the blood bone will cause an aneurysm, and that she will have a maximum of 7 days of life left. They also inform her that she can opt for a surgery to get this little piece of bone out of there. But she will have only 10% of chance to survive this surgery. And of course, her mother and somewhere also her family wants her to pick that option. But she doesn't want to. She's like, I basically can choose between dying right now or dying in 7 days. And in my life, I have never really achieved something. I have never really finished something. And I don't want to die like that, because I know this is disappointing my parents. So the only thing I can do until that I die, before I die, is finding my killer. We will follow her through 7 days, and we will go along with her investigating her own murder I was disappointed by this book. It is not a bad book. I enjoyed listening to it. It was in English and I could easily follow. It has like a very accessible English. I really was intrigued. And somehow I feel that it could have been more. But I cannot tell you what I wanted out of it other than this. It's a little strange. But it was nice. I have other books by this author on my wanting to read list. One of them is 5 Survive, and I will most certainly still pick those up. The next audiobook I want to talk to you about is a French-only book, and it is called Quand, les anges méritent de mourir, When the Angels Deserve to Die, and it's written by, if I remember well, Ena L. This is a recommendation from my husband. It is a sci-fi, and he was like, you should read this. You really should. It is so good. But I'm not sure you should, because it is quite gore. And when he discovered this book, it was included in the Audible collection. And it was going out of the collection, so on the last few days, I decided to give it a go. I said to myself, if it's too gory or something, you just DNF. But I did not. This indeed is a very good book. It is a sci-fi, and to me it has, I am not very known with all the horror genres, but to me it feels more like, I would call it the body horror type of book. We are in 2040, and I went to look up when it was written. I think it's by head 2019. And in 2040, we are meeting this college student, so she must be around 20 years old, maybe 19, somewhere there. And she's described to us, her name, I remember, it's Destiny. And she is a very bright person. She loves wearing clothes with a lot of color. She wears like this hat with cat ears. And she really has this cheerful personality. And she is so because she is not supposed to be alive. She was adopted by this French couple, of which the husband is a doctor, after they went to Ukraine, where something nuclear happened, and she was brought to him as a baby. She has so many radioactive things in her blood that she should not be alive, but she is. So this makes her who she is. And we meet her on a morning, and she's taking the metro, and we will learn a little bit that in this world, since 2038, there is this an organization that most certainly can be labeled as terroristic, and it is the Angels of, and that's where I miss the word, the Angels of something. And they do completely randomly bomb several big cities at once all over the planet. Strangely, these bombs have a lot of damage on humans, on our constructions, but nature is not affected by them. The leader of this organization is called Minimi, and since we know it is a sci-fi book, there will be a lot of science involved. And the morning that we meet Destiny and follow her along on her road to class, the metro she takes explodes. And this is one of the Angels' attacks. And the tone is immediately set as she describes how she feels after the explosion of this bomb, how she discovers that she's holding her intestines. and how she loses consciousness. And since that would not be a book if the main character dies in the first chapter, we also know that she will survive this attack. We will meet her again 3 days later in an hospital. So we were in Paris, and now we are in Bordeaux, where she comes to herself, and where things go a little bit strange. Nobody really tells her what's going on, where she is, why. And we will very soon discover that the police has this specific international department that is trying to catch this group of angels and stop them from terrorizing the whole world. That they are suspecting her to be one of these angels. The police officer will finally trust her when she says, I am not a terrorist. I don't know who these people are. I have nothing to do with them. But before the investigation can go further, she and 3 other people are taken out of the hospital by someone named Kraft. And this is how she will be taking along with the angels into their system, and that she will discover what this organization is, what it does. And I will not tell you much more about that part because it will give it all away. But what I want to say is it is extremely violent in the torture, in the experimenting. We will also follow Liam, who has his own very deep reasons to do everything to stop these angels, to catch them, to save Destiny. And he will, by looking into her family, the clues she leaves, maybe get on the right track to do something about this situation. It is horrible. It is so human. It is very touching. And I am very sad that this book is so unknown, because it should be known. And also, I am very sorry for those who don't speak French and that cannot access this book. And I know there is little hope, but maybe one day it will get translated, because I think it's a book necessary to read. Some joggers came by, so if you notice a slight change in the image, that's because I post the video. I picked another French-only book, which is called Le Murmures du Shar, and it is by Aiden Fox. This is a series, and I went to have a look, to find his author nationality. He's French, by the way. And I stumbled on his website, in which he explains his aim to write a saga. So there will be, and for now there are 4, I think, by heart, series, or I think one is a duology or trilogies, that are all set in the same world, but that each one of them has another type of magic at its center. And there is a whole wheel. I didn't count them, but it looks like maybe 8 or 10 types of magic. And in this first book that I listened to, we not only set the world for the trilogy, but also kind of the world for the saga, or at least that's how I felt it. It is also about dark magic. On his website, he will label each of the series because they are not all aimed at the same level. And this one is set, he says, young adult to adult. In this first book, I have difficulty really deciding about the age. We will meet a girl, again, names, and when we meet her, she's a gladiator in this country that is completely underground. She's a gladiator, which means that she fights in arenas, mostly a little bit like the Romans did, for life or death. But it's a job, it's a career, it's even a glorious one. And many of these fighters have like some kind of a messiah that is paying for them and sustaining for them. But she managed to fool everybody and to pass as a noble person and be her own messiah. Because she has an agenda. She is looking to defy the head of the dragon riders because he did a lot of wrong. And we will meet her at what in that book will be the present, at a moment that she is getting higher up and higher up in the society, and that she is getting closer to this person that she would like to kill. Oh, she hates him very deeply. And she will be confronted. So in this human village, there is a lot of different races. The lady of the north, the queen of the elves basically, comes walking in and explaining to the humans that there is a big problem, that the treaty they have with some countries cannot go on. It is affecting the elfin society. The elves are ordained, they are cruel, they are enslavers, they are very mean and cold and everything you can say in that direction. And because of the contact with the humans, the elves are weakening. And this is, of course, not going to happen. So this treaty needs to be rediscussed. For me, in the way it's done, there we are on what is going to be like the main, in the back, the red line in all of the saga is that this world is going to get into this huge war. And that's how I feel. We'll see. And this lady will see our heroine and tell her, well, you can come with me and I will teach you black magic. Black magic, who is where we are now, is forbidden. And she, in order to do that, she will have to leave her best friend behind. And so before saying goodbye, she will tell him the story of her life, which she never did. And we will get a whole part of the book that is set in the past and that will explain how our heroine grew up, how she became who she is now with all this hate for this head of the dragon riders. I will not go very deep into that because it will spoil a lot of the story for those who have an access to the French language. And my favorite character of the story is in that part, but that part feels too long to me. It is necessary to understand where we are now, to understand a little bit more about her enemy, and why she is driven the way she is. And then we go back to the future, to the present, in which we will follow her in her training with this lady. And in comparison to the very, very long second part, this later part, I feel that she is trained so quickly into this magic. Maybe it's because she is especially gifted, because of course, there is a big chance she is. And we end this first book in this trilogy with her being ready, passing like the test. I enjoyed this book. It is not bad at all, even if at some points the pacing is a little bit off. I am very intrigued by this world, and I must admit that I'm more intrigued like in how all these trilogies will fit in together, or all these series will fit in together in this main saga, and what it all is going to be about, than what is going to happen to the character we are following now, even if she is a very fun character to read about. And then I came at this awkward point in the month where there is like 1 or 2 days left, where starting a new book feels odd, because I like to not take over books from one month to the other. And I decided to read some of the novellas that I have on my Kindle. I have read 2 of them. The first one is in English, and it is by Vigaj, and it is titled Dreamspire, The Knot of Dreams. It is 72 pages long, and for every short book I'm like, will I have enough character building? Will I have enough world building to be able to really connect with the story? And oh my God, on Goodreads there is 0 evaluations for this short story novel. It's a bit on the edge. There is one now, mine, and I normally don't write anything, and I did for this one. And oh, I wish this could become at least a full book, or better even, a trilogy. This is a fantasy world. In this world, we will start with a princess that is waking up from a dream that is not a dream. She has the magical ability to, in her dreams, foresee the future. And she has dreamt that her father, the king, is going to die. And when she wakes up, her father arrives to her room, and she understands immediately that he's like going to die now. And we will follow her along. Her name is Elira, and she will go mourning. Her mother is already dead, and so she should inherit of the crown, but we will soon learn that very easily the Vultures came to seize power, and she will be called to a temple of, let's say, the magic that she has. She will learn that not all she knew about the prophecy about her is right. Maybe some it's not told, other parts have been interpreted wrong. And she will go on, and she will at some point be drawn into some kind of deeper layer, some kind of a common unconsciousness. And she will also, and we will follow then meet Koren, who clearly is a reincarnation. That makes clear that she is also one of 2 souls that are meant to be somehow connected. And he will try to reach her before something of this prophecy happens. And I will not tell the end. I so loved this magic. I so loved this quite, at the same time, light and dark world. I would so much like to see this grow into more, maybe of these 2 characters, or maybe other characters, and then being linked back to this. It was fantastic. I tell you, take the hour or 2 that it takes to go read these 72 pages, because it is really worth it. And then there is one last novella that I read, and that is one that is only in French. It is called boulangerie des rêves, oubliés, the bakery of the forgotten dreams. And it is also one that I loved a lot. The author is Semia B. It is also Kindle included and had no evaluations whatsoever on Goodreads. I was really touched by this book. We will meet a girl. The name of her grandmother, I remember. She's called Rose. That is woken up a morning by a phone call very early that is coming to inform her that her grandmother has passed away a few days before, and that she leaves everything to her, and that this includes her bakery in a very small village in France. The family has not been in contact. There has been something happening between our main character's mother and Rose that made that all contact got lost. But our main character decides to go to this bakery, and she will stay there. She will come across recipes and people, and I think the whole book is quite touchy because it speaks about those feelings that are left unspoken, and in some way they also are left unspoken. And it is, when I was reading it, I was really touched by the warm plate that it lays around you. Everything is well in the best of all. It's really cozy, but afterwards there is a lot of things that are really not logical to me. But I still enjoyed this read, and I think it was a nice ending of my reading month. Wrapping up this wrap up, I would like to know how your reading month was. Did you enjoy your reading as much as I did? See you soon!